Hi there! Today we're gonna talk about D+LA shows. You may ask, why are you making a video in English? And the answer to that is, I don't know, I just felt like it. And it's because the D+LA shows often are, well, not many people where I live have seen them, so I thought it was best to just speak internationally about this. Even if I plan on doing a video about Bia, that's going to be in Swedish, and that's a little funny because no one has seen Bia in Swedish because it's not out here, but I'm going to make the video in Swedish anyway, but yeah. So I have a bit harder time at expressing myself when I speak English. I just think I sound like a robot, but I will try my best. Anyway, D+LA shows. It's not to be confused with D+LA shows. D+LA stands for Disney Channel Latin America and is Violetta, Sorluna and Bia. And D+LA shows are the Disney Plus Latin American shows, which I'm gonna talk about today. There is 4 of them and I will discuss I will discuss them all. Also, I will try not to spoil much about the shows. I will simply talk about them in general and my general thoughts. But if I happen to spoil anything, I will warn you beforehand, but I'm trying not to. Let's start with the first show, shall we? This is called Entrelazados, or as it's called internationally, Intertwined. For a longer while, this was the only D+LA show that was out, so I always consider it like an honorary D+LA show, but I don't really anymore because I feel like in the end I don't think this show would have been able to air on Disney Channel. And actually I think none of the D+ shows could be airing on this channel because they have some heavier subjects, if you could call it that. Anyway, the story is about a girl named Allegra who really wants to join a performing arts group called 11 o'clock, but her mom, Katerina, forbids her from joining it. Allegra doesn't know why, but she sneaks out and auditions anyway, which causes her mom to throw a giant fit, and they argue in the car and crashes it. So her mom is in a coma. She's not in a coma forever, she wakes up pretty quickly, but the first time you see that, you're just like, did she die? But as her mom is in the hospital, Allegra gets taken care of by her grandma. There's some fights between her mom and her grandma that she doesn't really know why they have, because she really looks up to her grandma and her mom hates her, and Allegra doesn't know really why. Anyway, while she's home, she accidentally knocks a hole in the wall and discovers a bracelet. And when she puts it on, she travels in time. She travels to the year 1994 and meets her mom as a teenager. She learns her mom was actually a part of 11 o'clock when she was her age. So now she just tries to find out what happened. And maybe she could convince her mom to let her join 11 o'clock in the present. At the same time, she also discovers some mysteries and learns a bit more about her family history and also herself. So that's the general premise of the show. But there's of course a lot of smaller storylines around it. Allegra herself is at times pretty selfish. Though as we learn, her mom was kind of the same as she was when she was a teenager, and that makes Allegra put things into perspective. So even if Allegra can be pretty annoying at times, I think she grows over the course of the season. Also, the actress looks so much like Clara Alonso, so they really look like mother and daughter. They look like they are related. On the other hand, the actress playing teenage Katerina, she looks nothing like her. I don't know, I feel like they should have switched off who played the daughter and who played the teenage version of the mom, but anyway. There's something I gotta talk about with the 90s plot of the series, because Allegra, she travels back to the 90s and then back to 2021, which is the present, but it's now in the past too. In the 90s, she sort of befriends her mom as a teenager, and this is to like convince her mom to not give up on 11 o'clock, because her mom much more her mom doesn't really want to be a performing arts performer. That did not sound right. Her mom doesn't want to be a performer. She wants to be a writer. And her mom, Allegra's grandma, doesn't want her to be a writer. She wants her to be a star like her. So this plot is a little like generational trauma, because then Katerina doesn't want Allegra to be a star when she wants to be. It's like a loop. And really the only sane person here is Katerina's grandma, aka Allegra's great-grandma. Her great-grandmother is Sharon, I mean Lucia, and like good for her. I would rather have Lucia as my great-grandma than fucking Sharon Benson. Anyway, Lucia and Allegra form a little bond, because Lucia, in fact, was the one who found the bracelet, so she has traveled in time too. And when she time traveled, she did something pretty, wacky. And I'm not gonna spoil what she did, but, yeah. But there's one thing I gotta point out about Katerina and Allegra's relationship, and that is, of course, in the present they have a normal mom and daughter relationship, but in the 90s, when they meet, Katerina doesn't know that it's her future daughter, of course. And so when they like bond with each other, her mom is like, I feel a connection to you, like a really, really deep connection with you. I don't know why. And like, we as viewers know why, but I mean, she doesn't know that, and that's, I think I'm just thinking weird thoughts and ideas, but I'm not the only one who really sees that their bond is pretty strong. And like, Allegra, you shouldn't watch your mom dance in a bath towel like that. Like, that's your mom. Please stop. There's also a love triangle between one boy in the 90s and one boy in 2021. I won't comment a lot about that, because it's including a lot of spoilers, but I'm just gonna say Allegra falls in love with a boy in the 90s, and it gets a little messy because she, you know, that's not her time, so yeah. But then her best friend Felix in 2021, he's in love with her, and they have a whole deal. Some other characters that's worth to mention is Sofia, which is a girl in the present who is pretty uninteresting. Actually, her mom is a lot more interesting. And when I say her mom, I don't mean her mom as an adult, because her mom as an adult is pretty boring too. I mean her mom as a teenager in the 90s, because Greta, her plots in the 90s, I love it. She also has a best friend named Barbara, and Barbara is best girl. She got drunk in one episode, and that just made me realize, oh my god, someone got drunk. Someone got drunk in a kids show. Whoa! Like, this is still produced by Disney. Disney doesn't really make people get drunk. Not anymore, at least. Also, as a final note, I have to say that they are setting up a musical in both like the present and in the 90s, and they have done the same musical in like the 70s too, and that is Freaky Friday, the musical. And the funny thing about Freaky Friday is like, it didn't get to be a musical until like 2016, but in this universe, it was a musical like from the 70s at least. I mean, like, the only thing of Freaky Friday that actually existed in the 70s was, like, the 70s movie. But I gotta say, it was pretty fun to hear the songs. Like, this show has an English dub, but they didn't dub the songs. But technically they could dub the songs, because many of the songs are from Freaky Friday the musical, which is originally in English. So they could technically just do that. But at the same time, I know why they didn't dub the songs, because like they learned not to do that from the last time they dubbed one of these shows. Anyway, and that, my dear friends, was all I could say about Entrelazados without spoiling too much. It's a really interesting series, actually. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited about season 2, because again, not gonna spoil anything, but season 1 ended with a cliffhanger, so I am very thrilled to see what they will do in season 2. Now we're gonna head over to Siempre Fui Yo, or as it's called internationally, It Was Always Me. This show definitely would not have aired on Disney Channel, so like, this show has drugs, violence, guns, murder, all that fun stuff. Also, every character is like 22 or older, so it's just in general a grown-up show, but it's about Lupe, who learns that her father, who is a Colombian sing-songwriter, has passed away. But she thinks his death is a little weird. Something doesn't really add up. So she has to stay in Colombia and try to figure out the mystery. While she does it, she joins a singing competition, mostly so she can have a reason to stay. And she signs up with a guy named Noah, who she kind of has like an on and off relationship with, because it's really weird, because like very early on they basically make out on a beach, like they have very high sexual tension, but then like an episode later she's like, I don't know if he likes me. I'm like, please girl, why? Anyway, they team up in the competition, and they also team up as like detectives to try to solve the whole mystery with her father's death. There's also Lupe's brother, Pipe, and like he doesn't like her because their father always favorized her, even though like I don't know how their family situation was, but it was like, I think they have the same parents, but their parents are divorced, so like Lupe lives in Mexico with her mom, and he lived with their dad in Colombia. That, or like they had different moms or something. The thing is, like, they look to be the same age. She calls him her little brother, so maybe he's like 1 year younger than her or something, but I also wonder, maybe like they're twins or something, and then like their parents just took one kid when they divorced. Then also there was a scene where like there was a flashback where Lupe told him that he had forgotten her birthday, like indicating that she had her own birthday, but it could also possibly mean that they could still be twins, and like he just didn't send her anything for her birthday, like because they I don't know. Either way, Pipe and Lupe are siblings. And honestly, their father sucks. They both envied each other when really they should have just stuck together against their father. Because like Lupe envied Pipe because he lived with her father, and he envied her because he thought their father liked her more. Pipe wanted to sing with him, and he was like, nah, our voices doesn't sound good together. And like he wanted Lupe to sing with him, but like she has terrible stage fright, and so she just didn't want to. Though I gotta say, even though she has terrible stage fright, she is really good on stage when she dares to perform. And the songs in this show are bangers. They really are bangers.
Y aunque nunca se pueda explicar un amor tan profundo, yo te voy a escribir la canción más bonita del mundo. No me arrepiento y no voy a negar lo que siento. Y no hay amor más grande, no hay más grande amor conectar. Pienso en ti, no puedo respirar. Déjate. Yo te aseguro, si estás en mis brazos, mi querido amor, nada te va a pasar.
I also need to talk about Lumina, the best band ever. Lumina consists of Kevin, Sammy, and Angie. Kevin and Sammy are gay. Like, I'm not only saying that, like, I headcanon them as gay, I feel gay vibes. No, they are canonly gay. Like, do you know how often we get canon homosexuals? We don't get that very often. We don't. Especially not in Disney-produced shows. And then there's Angie. I ship her with Lupe very much. But other than that, she is just amazing. Like, I love every Angie scene ever. She is the moment. She is just out of her mind, and I love her so much. Nonetheless, the show is really exciting. It's fun to follow what's happening. It's also like nice that everyone is an adult for once, because they are always children or teenagers. I gotta say, the ending of the season kind of tied it up pretty nicely. So I don't really know how they can do a season 2, but I know they are doing a season 2, and I read the premise for it, and it sounds like it could work. Like, I think what they're trying to do is that every new season kind of is its own story. So I'm pretty excited for that, and I recommend you check this show out. The next show is interesting because it's not from a Spanish-speaking country, it's from Brazil, and it's called Tudo Igual, and then I can't pronounce the SQN correctly, so I am sorry, I won't pronounce that. But I know the SQN is a Brazilian slang, like a Brazilian texting slang, I think, so yeah, that's a thing. But internationally, this show is called All the Same or Not. Though what's pretty fun is that the English dub still say the Portuguese title, but they don't say the SQN.
On the last episode of Tudo Igual.
Like, guys, you have an English title, you can just say the English title, but okay. I didn't watch it dubbed anyway, I just, when I casted the show to my TV, they changed the language to English, so yeah. Anyway, this show is actually based on a book that I think only exists in Portuguese, but yeah, so that's pretty interesting actually. It's very slice of life-y. It's mainly about these 4 girls who are starting a new school year, and they think they want things to just be like they always have been, but things are changing around them for all of them. The main character is Carol, or Carolina, that's her full name. Anyway, Carol, she is going to get a new family because her mom is remarrying a man, and he also has a son. So now she also has a new step-brother named Tomas. And Tomas is just the most angsty teenage boy ever. Like, if I were to move to a new house where I was forced to live with, like, new people, I wouldn't blast loud music. Like, I would probably, like, try to not bother anyone at all, but you do you, Tomas. I was like, you know that student in your school who always sits at the back with headphones on and, like, doesn't really want to listen to the class? He's that kid. He's exactly that kid. So yeah, Carol has to deal with her new family situation, and like how to deal with her new stepbrother and all that fun stuff. Her very best friend is Beta. Her deal is that she doesn't really feel seen by her parents, so she often crashes at her brother's place. The thing in the show, it's like her parents do care about her. Like, I can see that they care about her a lot. It's just that they are very busy. So I really get that in her perspective they seem neglectful when they actually just are up to a lot of stuff. Either way, Beta gets pretty close to Tomas because I think they both skate, so like they can bond over skating stuff, and Beta's brother owns a record store and Tomas goes to this store a lot, so like they meet up a lot and they get they get a bond, and this sort of gets a conflict with Carol because she doesn't really want her best friend to date her stepbrother. So like that's a whole thing. Then there's Amanda. She's the token straight. She likes to date boys a lot. It gets to the point where she like dates several of them at the same time. She's just very boy crazy, like she took boy crazy to the next level. But when she's not thinking about boys, she thinks about her besties. She's a very good friend, very loyal. And like, ironically, she's the only one with a gaydar, which I will discuss soon. The last girl on our list is Trix. Trix is a top student, she has a perfect life. She has a perfect boyfriend. As I said, she was a top student. And she's applying to film school in the US. So like everything is going great for her. So why doesn't she feel satisfied? There's just something that's missing. Something that still feels off in her life. And she doesn't really know why. And then she meets Pri. Pri is a girl that's also in their school, and she's also an environmentalist. That word is hard to say when you're non-English, I just want to point that out, but she cares about the environment. She's an activist in the environment. And she quickly becomes a part of their friend group. She sees something is up with Trix that really her friends also see, but Pri really can get to the core of it. She really wants Trix to get out of her shell, which her friends also want, but for some reason, Trix doesn't really listen when her friends and her boyfriend tell her she should come out of her shell, but she does listen when Priest tells her to. So that's pretty interesting, you can wonder why. Anyway, this show has canon lesbians, so that alone makes it good. Now, okay, but the show is really sweet. Like, there's not much happening, but it's just like the slice of life of the girls just trying to live their everyday life. And I find it really soothing to watch. However, there is one thing that I have to address. I won't say exactly what happened, but in the last 5 minutes of the last episode, something happens. And like, the first time I watched this show, I felt an odd feeling. Nothing really out of the ordinary happened, like this was a normal show, nothing weird happened at all. Why did I feel like something was odd when nothing odd happened at all? And then in the last 5 minutes of the last episode, I realized why I had found it so odd. And I don't even know what to say. All I can say right now is that I am excited for season 2, but I'm also a little weirded out. Either way, besides the thing that happened in the last 5 minutes, this show is really sweet and I think you should check it out because it's probably the most underrated of the bunch. And I enjoyed it. And now it's time to talk about Papas por Encargo, or internationally, I will not say that title. Anyway, it's about 3 dads in Mexico and their little girl going on a road trip. Okay, no, there's a lot more depth than that. 3 men are having a band, and they are tasked to babysit a little girl for 2 hours while her mom is away. And then her mom never returns. So like 9 years later or something, on the girl's 13th birthday, her mom sends her a message and says they have to drive across Mexico to find her, and she'll explain everything. And the girl, whose name is California, she gets really excited because like she's gonna reunite with her mom. And the 3 men, who now has like formed a father relationship to her, like she calls every one of them dad, they are a little unsure because like it's their daughter now. You know, like, she can't just drop her off and then want to have her again, like, yeah. But they go on the road trip anyway, because they feel like, yeah, they need some answers. And the whole show is just them on the road trip, and the things that come in between. There's also a side plot with some villains following them. We don't know why they are following them at first, but we find out later in the show. There's also one point where California gets her period and then they have to like deal with that. And I think that's really fun actually, because I mean, periods are something that happens whether you like it or not. And yeah, how will they solve it? She doesn't have any women in her life that can like teach her. She only has 3 dads and they try their best to help her. Honestly, have you ever pictured Leon and Simone shopping pads together? Me neither, but it happened. And in the end, it was a very heartwarming show, actually. The thing about this show is that it's not out internationally yet, but I think it will be soon. So like you can probably watch this video in the future and it's gonna be out. I had to watch it with a VPN, and when I first watched it, it only had like Spanish and a Portuguese dub, and then it only had like Spanish captions and English subtitles. But now they actually have like 15 different subtitles plus much more dubs. I actually think they will release it soon, like internationally, or at least to 15 countries or so, which is basically internationally, hahaha. No, I'm just kidding. God, that laugh sounded like a robot, like ha ha ha. I am a human, I can laugh. What's also so fun about the show is like how California essentially is very optimistic about seeing her mother again, but then like slowly realizes that she has a lot of questions and like abandonment issues from like her mother just leaving her and not saying where she went. Like this girl has trauma. Or it's trauma. Trauma. How do you say trauma? Trauma. That word. She has that word. Another thing about the show is the music. They do have some original music, but a lot of the songs they sing are like classic Mexican songs. Or not classic Mexican, like anyway, covers of Mexican songs, and they have really good covers of them.
Si nos dejan, haremos con las nubes terciopelo. Que te quedas conmigo una vida entera. Soy el que más quisiera un día verte volver. Amor, amor, amor. Amor, amor, amor.
It may be that one of the ones I just showed was actually an original song. I'm sorry, I forget which ones are covers and which ones are original sometimes. The show is really great, it's heartwarming. I felt... I don't know how to explain, I just felt so good watching it. It's so sweet. They also have like music videos at the end of every episode, and my favorite music video they have is this one.
Oye mujer, lo que has provocado en mí.
This should be the new Rickroll. Like, I don't care, don't send me a Rickroll, send me this.
Oye mujer.
So that was all the shows that I talked about today. I know there's probably more D+LA shows out there, but these are the 4 that I am most familiar with and the ones I have seen. And I don't know if I really convinced anyone that they are interesting or like convinced anyone to watch them. I just wanted to talk about them, so I did. And now you have a video what they are about, and I didn't spoil much about them, so like you can go in and see for yourself what they are about. And yeah, I am always really bad at conclusions, like even when I write texts I suck at conclusions. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I am not really used to speak in English, that's why I don't do it a lot, because I am more comfortable speaking in my first language, as you can imagine. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you next time. Next time I make a video in English, it's probably an out of context one, so to be fair, my out of context videos are mostly in Spanish, but still, they have an English title, so that's something. Anyway, see you. Bye.